Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7 update 1.52. With this new update we've got 10 brand new engine swaps to the game and they're all fairly fantastic swaps overall. We also see the introduction of cars now having multiple engine swaps for one single model, which is definitely a plus point. Continuing with the JDM theme with the 3 new vehicles of the update, all 10 engine swaps are very much in the form of JDM engine swaps and they're fantastic. However, before we do get into the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe and turn your notifications on. Let's get to it then. The first of the swaps is from the R26B 787B engine, which is of course from the Mazda 787B. This actually has 2 brand new swaps to it. So the first of them is the Roadster touring car. This is a pretty decent swap overall and a fairly fantastic one. I am absolutely over the moon that the Roadster touring car did finally get an engine swap, and well, what more could I ask for? The 787B in this thing is incredible. So let's head over to the stats on the swap. As you can see, the PP rating will go from 533.16 to 669.28. We don't actually have the original displacement, so I'm not going to touch on that. One thing to note, that is the weight will go from 795 kilograms to 865 kg. Now in terms of the power, it will jump from 205 brake horsepower to 690 and a power to weight ratio of 1.23. Pretty incredible. However, this isn't the only Mazda 787B engine swap of the update. We also have the Mazda Roadster NRA, which is getting its first engine swap in the form of the 787B. Now again, just take note that this is a fairly expensive swap at 1.75 million. In terms of the stats for the NRA, it goes from 423.49 to 597.93 pp. It has a pretty huge jump in displacement. Will once again get added weight, so 1010 kg to 1100, 130 brake horsepower to 690 and a power to weight of 1.57, which is again pretty ridiculous. This thing almost pops wheelies. Next up we have the Demon Challenger engine swap. Now this is one that has not seen an engine swap, I believe, since the end of last year, maybe even the start of this year, but it's been a while anyway, and this is actually going to be the first car that is going to get a double engine swap. Of course, I am talking about the Mitsubishi GTO twin turbo. Now this car originally does have the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak swap. As you can see, the H25A Escudo swap is right there on the left for 950,000 credits. However, we also have the Demon Challenger swap now for a measly 200,000 credits, 476.01 pp to 606.76. As you can see, it goes from turbocharged to supercharged, does get a bit of extra weight by 25 kg, but a huge jump in power from 285 to 840 with a weight to power ratio of 2.02. Next up we have the Mitsubishi Evo Final Group B rally car engine swap. Now overall this is a fairly predictable swap. You guessed it, it goes in the Evo X Final Edition, the road going version of the Group B rally car. So you're basically just able to create your own custom Group B rally car with this engine swap. In terms of the stats, once again we do see a double swap. Again, the Escudo Pikes Peak engine can go in this, but for 325k you can now swap in the Evo Group B rally car engine. It will jump from 512.72 pp to 577.03. We can see that the weight does reduce by 4 kg. Brake horsepower goes up to 521 and a weight to power ratio of 2.88. Overall, not too bad and a fairly grounded and sensible swap. Next up, we have one of my personal favourites of the update, the 3UZ-FE SC430 engine swap, of course from the Lexus GT500. This goes in the Toyota 86 GRMN. I have probably butchered that. I don't really know how to pronounce that. I don't know if it is just the letters, but anyway, it does get a new swap for 500,000 credits. As you can see, it will jump from 475.46 pp to 574.21. We also see a slight increase in weight. Brake horsepower jumps from 214 to 516. Although the best thing about this swap is definitely the fact that you're putting the GT500 Group 2 engine in this road car, basically turning it into a full-blown race car with better fuel consumption. Absolutely incredible. Love that one. Next up, we have the SR20, of course, from the Silvia S15. Now, once again, this is a fairly grounded engine swap, a little bit like the Evo 10. This time is going in a different Silvia. This is the Silvia Q's S13 from 1988, which gets its second ever engine swap. Originally, this was the crazy one that got the LS7 BRZ drift engine. As you can see, it will be listed there on the left hand side, but for even cheaper at 134k, you can now SR20 swap it. This is a fairly great engine swap and a very sensible one, especially if you want to do something just a little bit different with your Silvia. Now, in terms of the PP, 381.32 to 454.52. We see that it goes to turbocharged. In terms of the BHP, 132 to 246, and a weight to power ratio of 4.56. Not a bad swap at all, probably the weakest of the update though, but very sensible. Next we have the VK45DE GTR, of course from the GT500 GTR from 2008. This will actually go in the Silvia touring car, which I believe is the first race car in GT7 to get 2 engine swaps. Of course, it does have the pretty crazy Nismo GTR engine swap and does now get a GT500 engine swap, which is fantastic for turning this into a makeshift Group 2 race car. As you can see, 600k is going to grab you the engine, 640.36 pp to 704.18. It will go from turbocharged to naturally aspirated. It will also have a reduction in weight, a huge power boost to 527, and a weight to power ratio of 1.83. Pretty fantastic for a race car as well. A pretty solid swap overall. Let's move on. Next we have the VR38. This is from the GTR Nismo. This is once again getting another engine swap, and in terms of the car this time, it's actually going to go in a race car. Now, I'm not usually a fan of road to race. It's going in the GT86 Group 4, and honestly it just kind of takes away from the advantages of the race car. So we are of course putting a road engine in the race car itself, but we do see an increase in a lot of things. PP will jump up to 691.93. It will then turn from a naturally aspirated to turbocharged, 591 brake horsepower, and a weight to power of 2.10. However, you will lose the benefits of having that original race engine in the car, so just be aware that fuel consumption is going to take a pretty major hit with this one. Next up, it's time for the high revving and ridiculous K24A Civic engine from the RCR Garage Civic. Once again, getting another engine swap, this time in the Toyota 86 GT from 2015. This one is absolutely fantastic and definitely one that kind of caught me by surprise. So 250k for the engine swap, relatively cheap overall. Sees a PP rating increase to 523.75. It also becomes turbocharged, does have a slight increase in weight, 389 brake horsepower, a weight to power of 3.20, but a ridiculous high revving VTEC Honda engine. This swap honestly turns the car from being pretty boring and dull into a high revving absolute ballistic missile. Moving on then, we have the LS7 BRZ, which once again continues the trend of probably being the most swappable engine in the entirety of Gran Turismo 7. I don't think we've seen an update without this one, and unbelievably it does go in the brand new Toyota Hiace DX van. So yes, Polyphony's pulled off this masterpiece of a swap. You can basically produce a full-blown drift van at this point. It's hilarious and it's great to see. Really adds personality to this one. A massive jump to 504.48 pp. As you can see, displacement jumps upwards of 7,816 cc. Turbocharged, does get a slight extra weight in it. However, the max power is ridiculous, 134 brake horsepower to 1037. That is just mental. In terms of the fully upgraded, it goes upwards of 1200 brake horsepower and a weight to power of 1.64 for only 300k credits. And there we go, that is all 10 engine swaps from update 1.52. In terms of rating all of these swaps, they're all pretty interesting overall and definitely provide a wide wide range of some pretty crazy JDM themed vehicles. I'm really enjoying these ones. For me, some of the highlights have to be the 787B swaps and of course the BRZ drift engine in a van. That is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's ridiculous and a great time to have. So let me know what you think of the 10 new engine swaps down below. A massive thank you to all of my channel members. I will see you later on. Take care guys, peace.